Welcome to Sunbeings.org. My name is Carina, and today I would like to look more deeply at some of the facets of Sunbeings.org, how they all belong together, how the website is making sense as a whole, and also how it fits into the broader context of the positive transformation that is currently happening on this planet, what this transformation is all about. And this is so that you can find more easily what you need, and that you better understand the work that Kate and I are doing and where we are coming from with our lifestyles, with the work that we are conveying through Sunbeings.org. It all fits together. Okay, and for this I would like to start with the Who We All Are menu. Here you find the page called Earth's History. And on this page we share how we have come to the conclusion that there are two different pathways on this planet. By this I mean there is nature on the one hand, which most of us are fairly familiar with as the life source of this planet, and then there is another pathway which is a completely different form of existence, which is more technological, and which in many layers of the reality on this planet exists in parallel to nature. So this means that the narratives about the history of this planet and human evolution that we are usually presented are very distorted, to say the least. And unfortunately, most of academia, most scientific work is also rooted in these false assumptions and is therefore creating further narratives which are rooted in a form of life that is not natural and that is not even compatible with the system of nature. How can I say something like this? So for example, when you look at the research coming out, a newer research that is coming out of genetics and archaeology, you will see that there is much evidence that first of all our DNA is a splicing of natural aspects of ape DNA with the other form of existence, non-natural aspects. There's a splicing that has happened at some point in time, which is why there was a sudden evolution from ape to the type of human being that we are seeing today on this planet. And this is where archaeology comes in. Archaeology is also recognizing that the jump from what looks like apes, at least, whatever these beings were, to what we call human, was way too fast to be a process of the natural evolution that we are presented by Darwinian theory, for example. Okay, there is also a lot of evidence coming from the realm of quantum physics, which we will share more about in our upcoming newsletter, which shows that there are several layers of reality, physical, non-physical, all the way down to the quantum field, to the very foundation of life. And it shows that the densest layer of these layers, the physical and also some non-physical, contain signals and codes which are natural and life-enhancing, but also signals which are actually destructive to life. So again, the two exist in parallel, but yet this research is also showing that not all these layers of nature, not all the layers of reality on this planet are penetrated by the destructive signals. Only some of the layers are, and the others are purely reflecting the natural system. So this is showing us that at some point in time, an infiltration of the indigenous system, which is nature, on this planet has happened, with a more synthetic life form and path of existence. And the two have been going in parallel ever since, to different extents and varying ratios. This is the foundation for the transformation that is currently happening on this planet, because this is exactly what is shifting. The planet is changing a lot. The Earth as a whole is coming more back to her natural ways of functioning. Our bodies are changing. The way we function as human beings biologically is changing, and many people are realizing that. And all the stuff which is connected to this synthetic pathway is coming to the surface, hence all the turmoil that is happening in this world. And it's also coming to the surface inside us, toxic patterns are coming up, but they are coming up to leave. They are being deleted, and you can see that in some people who are very much aligned with nature, who are strongly connected to nature, that there are toxic stuff, that there's toxic stuff coming up, and then suddenly they move past that. But you can also see it in the external world. For example, when you look at our institutions, governmental structures, financial system, all these systems and institutions are very much malfunctioning. They are breaking apart. And this is because there is no room for these other frequencies on this planet anymore. They are not indigenous here. And they are not compatible with nature. And nature is expelling, is ejecting these kinds of frequencies and ways of being. And is also ejecting that inside us, unless you become injected with certain substances. Okay, but that's another topic. So you have a choice, and this is what this means, and this is really important to realize. You have a choice to connect with those layers of reality which are purely natural. And you do that by penetrating the physical, the mental, emotional, which are still all infiltrated, and coming to this inner still point. And you will realize that there are promptings coming from that layer, coming from your whole being, which excite you, which you know would give you joy, decisions that you actually always wanted to make, ways of living that you actually always wanted to experience. But then from the outside, mental infiltrations are coming in, and many meditators have realized that our thoughts and most of our emotions are not ours. They are not coming from inside our being, and they are not coming from the system of nature either. They are technological infiltration coming from the outside, telling us that we cannot achieve anything, telling us that we cannot live the way we live. And unfortunately, because this infiltration has happened for a long time, most of our societies are built on that. The ways we are being raised, what we are being taught, a lot of that has by now been built on this infiltration rather than on our natural abilities and natural ways of living that bring us joy and happiness and that are healthy for us. And all of this is coming to a peak at the moment, which is why so many people are getting very sick and even dying, because they are too much hooked into the technological pathway, which is not compatible with the natural, and hence the two are fighting each other, and this becomes a pathway of self-destruction. So we have the choice to come back to this internal still point, to connect with the layers of reality that we all have access to and that are purely rooted in nature, and we can start to make decisions and act from there. And I know many of you are doing that already to an extent, but also many are not doing it consciously, because you may not have realized yet what is happening on this planet, what is happening with your biology. It is not a coincidence that a lot of people are realizing suddenly that they are connected to other people in ways they had never quite noticed before. Like you might think of a project that you want to start, and suddenly someone else approaches you with exactly the same idea or very similar ideas. This is because we are connected beyond the technological level of getting on the phone and calling someone. We are connected through electromagnetic fields, through light fields. And we can communicate in those kinds of ways. These are natural abilities we have. And we can also materialize our needs in these kinds of ways. These are abilities that got lost at some point because the infiltration had become so strong that technological pathway had been able to establish itself in such a strong way. And all of this is now being reversed. And you can help, for lack of a better word, your body to adjust to these changes on this planet, dive deeper into these abilities that we naturally have, and you can start, or we can all start, to build what we would like to see on this planet from that place of stillness, from that place of naturalness. And the projects that come out of this are what is enhancing life, what is amplifying life. And this is where the Explore Here menu on the sunbeings.org website comes in, because here we go into the different aspects of life: health, education, technology, fair clothing, food, many aspects of life. And we show you projects carried out by people who are already quite strongly connected with themselves in their natural way, rather than listening to thoughts, to emotions that are an infiltration. And they are building something which drives our transformation forward at the physical level, because since all the old structures are crumbling, we need to build new ones. We need our societies to keep functioning, and that functioning needs to be transformed. So it is very important that people come together and support each other in building what we actually want to see in this world, because now is the point in time where this actually can be successful, because the system of nature is becoming stronger and stronger on this planet again, and is supporting us with establishing physical pathways that are in alignment with its ways of operating. So this is the broader foundation which Sunbeings.org is rooted in. And this is also why we talk a lot about reducing dependency on money and banking, and have developed a completely different donation model which allows different forms of giving back, outside, much of it outside the financial system. Because the financial system is, like most institutions, rooted in that synthetic pathway, and it is falling apart, and it will disappear eventually completely. So we need other ways of trading. We need other ways that ensure that we maintain access to food, that our kids learn what they need to learn, and that in general life is being enhanced on this planet, that nature, animals, declining populations are being supported in their recovery, and so on. And when we tap into those deeper layers in us, which are purely natural, our body also starts to heal by itself. The environment starts to heal, and of course we can then at a physical level also support all these things. So this is what the broader context for Sunbeings.org is. We hope you enjoy this, and we hope you find it useful, and your feedback is of course always welcome. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for listening to this.